Hi there guys, I hope you are having a good day. Now, apparently according to Eddie Hearn, he doesn't seem to believe that Oleksandr Usyk will ever be a fully fledged heavyweight. And I have to say I kind of agree with him because his natural weight is cruiserweight. He's not naturally a heavyweight. Now, he did compete at the Olympics in the heavyweight class, but there was still one class above him, which is super heavyweight because he won gold at 2012. Anthony Joshua won gold at 2012, but they were in different weight classes. And you can see heavyweights getting bigger now. I mean, 20 years ago, maybe Usyk would not have been such a small heavyweight. But these days, things are a lot different. And just because he can bulk up to 230 pounds doesn't mean that he can compete with the natural size advantage that Anthony Joshua has over him. Because, as I said, things are different these days when it comes to heavyweights. I mean, look at Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, all over 6'6". They are giants. That means they can carry extra weight and carry it well. Tyson Fury, 19 stone against Deontay Wilder. There were people who were saying, that's too heavy, he won't be able to move. That is just ridiculous kind of weight. And I mean, he's supposed to be an athlete, he needs to be able to move fast and have sharp reflexes at 6'9" and 19 stone. But that is just the thing, he's the type of guy who can carry the weight and the size and still be able to have the speed, the movement, the footwork and the reflexes all to go with it. So it is not just the boxing skills ability that they have to overcome, but the size as well. That is where it makes it difficult for Oleksandr Usyk, because they always say, a good big guy will always beat a good small guy. Now, I would say that Usyk is more than just a good small guy. I think that he's exceptional for what he has achieved in the sport of boxing, becoming undisputed cruiserweight champion, then defending it against the former #1 cruiserweight who was coming back down from heavyweight in Tony Bellew, then moving up to heavyweight and challenging the unified champion in Anthony Joshua. But if you look at the problems, I guess you could say, that Tony Bellew presented for Usyk, he's going to have problems as well with AJ, but the thing is, Usyk does get hit. We saw that in the Bellew fight. The problem is, in there with AJ, is it is a different kind of punching power. It is explosive, and it's like a sledgehammer. So what AJ does, and what he will do against Usyk, is set things up behind the jab. Now, Usyk does like to get control of the fundamentals, controlling the pace and the distance the fight is being fought at. That is one thing he's going to be unable to do against AJ, making things a lot more difficult, and that will require a different game plan for Usyk because he is able to apply pressure, he has a great engine, so not only can he apply that pressure, use angles, land continuous blows, but what he is also able to do is have the endurance to do it for 12 rounds without really having any blemishes in there, without struggling at all when it comes to that side of things. But in there with AJ, he's in there with a taller opponent, stronger, heavier, and the natural guy at this weight class, meaning somehow Usyk is the one who has to try and bridge that gap. And you have to wonder, how can he do that? Well, if anyone can do it, he can do it. There is a difference between him and, say, Holyfield and David Haye, other fighters who have been successful in coming up from the cruiserweight division. The difference is they had the punching power, they had the ability to be able to get the respect of the bigger guy. Usyk doesn't necessarily have that, but he does have other things in his locker that he can use to his advantage. Now, that does come down to his speed, his reflexes, more importantly, his footwork. His footwork is impeccable, alongside Lomachenko as well, both of them. Incredible footwork, incredible movement and navigation of the boxing ring. They've hardly ever put a foot wrong, and they do not cross their legs, which of course can be detrimental to a fighter when taking punches and trying to land their own. The interesting thing about footwork is it can set up everything. I mean, take for example Deontay Wilder. Yeah, not the best example of footwork I know, but if you look at what he's doing in training now, trying to throw combinations, those combinations will not have the same power as his big one right hand. Now, he is renowned for having the biggest punch in the heavyweight division. We've heard that many times. Yes, he has a big one punch, but when he starts putting them together, things are a little bit different. You cannot have the same power in a combination as he does when he loads up with one big right hand. And there is also this thing of Anthony Joshua not having the same one punch power as Deontay Wilder. Well, he throws more combinations as opposed to just loading up with one right hand. And that is the cost of being at elite level and fighting top 10 fighters. You cannot just load up with one right hand, because it will very rarely work. I mean, when they get to that level, they need more than just one big punch, because their opponent will be able to find a way to navigate that, like Tyson Fury was able to against Wilder. And yes, it did land, but it didn't knock him out. Tyson Fury was in a position to take that kind of power, and he was able to get up and continue. It does take something special to be a top fighter, and it is those kind of qualities that get them to that point. So when something like that happens, they have a remedy for it. Wilder didn't. Now, Oleksandr Usyk, he does. He is able to shift through the gears, he is able to adapt, adjust in fights, and that is definitely the mark of an elite level fighter. AJ is able to do it, Tyson Fury is able to do it, Dillian Whyte is able to do it. So the top guys have the ability to be able to do that, and they have proven it throughout their careers. Now, when we say good big guy versus good small guy, yes, that does come into it, but when you look at the skill set of Oleksandr Usyk, you can imagine what he is capable of doing in the boxing ring. I mean, if you look at him going into the World Boxing Series against the likes of Joe Joyce, he was able to navigate that size quite well, and there are just certain things that he can do, little tricks here and there, that make it easier for him to navigate a taller opponent, but not just taller, heavier, with good punching power as well. I know that that was like a semi-pro setup, this is the professionals, but still, it shows what Usyk is capable of doing. So while no, he will never be a fully fledged heavyweight, but he will always be an exceptional fighter, an elite level fighter, and it is those qualities that will serve him well in there with AJ, and that is why AJ needs to be prepared in peak condition for this opponent. Anyway guys, what are your thoughts on this? Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below, also leave a like and grab that subscribe button. Thanks guys.